Welcome back to New Day. This morning, a new effort to reform the criminal justice system. It is called the REDEEM Act, which aims in part to seal certain non-violent crimes in background checks. It would also prevent people who are convicted of those crimes from losing eligibility from some government benefits. The pair of senators co-sponsoring the bill have reached across the aisle to work together. We have a Republican and a Democrat.
What the hell did you just say?
Rand Paul and Democratic Senator Cory Booker, who had this to say about the bill.
We could be saving money, empowering people to succeed, and ending something that really betrays American values, fiscal prudency and liberty.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
We're joined now by Republican Senator Rand Paul from Washington. Senator, thank you so much for being with us. I have to say, this is interesting on many, many levels. There are the facts within the proposal, and then there is the fact of the proposal and who is proposing it, you, a Republican, along with a Democrat.
Okay, don't get crazy.
First, let's talk about what's in the proposal here. You want to seal the records for nonviolent crimes for some adults. You want to expunge the records in some cases for kids under 15.
The hell you say?
What kind of crimes are you talking about here, and what do you see the impact as?
Well, you know, one of the biggest impediments to employment in our country is having a criminal record. So what we said is for people who had nonviolent felonies, nonviolent crimes, mostly drug possession and minor drug sale crimes, that if you've served your time, wouldn't we want you to get a job rather than to go back into a life of crime?
Of course. No, don't be ridiculous.
But you can't get a job a lot of times with a criminal record. This has become I've become very aware of this as I've met a lot of people. I go into some communities, I meet people who are ministers who say, well, yeah, I changed my life, but when I was 19, I did something wrong, and I still have trouble getting employment because of it. So it is a big problem. I think it's the right thing to do, and Senator Booker's been great to work with, and we're happy that we've got a bipartisan bill here.
Is this true? Yes, it's true.
So if you were convicted of pot, for instance, or certain drug crimes, you're saying just wipe it clean. There'd be no record of all.
Right. For kids, it does it automatically. For adults, it has to be a year after you've gotten out of jail, and you have to apply through a judge to get it. We tried to make it as easy as possible, but we still wanted there to be a process and a review process. But yeah, I think once you've served your time, you should get your rights back. I think the same for voting. And I've actually worked with the majority leader, Senator Harry Reid, as a co-sponsor of a bill with me to restore voting rights to people who have served their time.
You lack a discipline.
I don't lack a discipline.
You found a receptive audience in Senator Cory Booker. You've been speaking to the White House about this and the Attorney General, and you found a receptive audience there as well.
Yeah, I spoke with the president this week about a few of these criminal justice issues. He's indicated a desire to help push some of these issues. Senator Mike Lee and Dick Durbin have one on mandatory minimums. I've worked with Senator Leahy on one on mandatory minimums. There's a lot of criminal justice issues. We kind of went crazy in the 80s, but we went too far. And I think the public is ready to have a little more of an understanding position with the law that maybe people should get a second chance.
In some of these convictions, some of the people being charged with these crimes, it falls disproportionately along racial lines, doesn't it?
You fucking sneaky bastard.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 people in prison are black or brown for nonviolent drug crimes. However, when you look at drug use across the board, white kids are using drugs just as much as black and brown kids, but they don't get incarcerated at the same rate. In fact, 80% of the public is white, and so how do we get to 3 out of 4 people in prison are black or brown? There really is a racial outcome to the war on drugs, and we need to reevaluate it from top to bottom and make sure we're not incarcerating people, maybe inadvertently, but because of the color of their skin or their economic status.
Don't confuse me with any facts.
A lot of us in the media right now are making a lot out of the fact that you were doing this in a bipartisan way. Senator Rand Paul, Republican from Kentucky, Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey, they're working together. Oh my God, stop the presses.
This city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff.
Exactly.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
Well, you know, because I think we hear of a lot of acrimony in Washington, but I think what you'll find that's interesting, and I don't want to characterize Senator Booker, but I would say that he's somebody that has the ability to get beyond partisanship. That's what I perceive myself also as saying, you know what, I'm not locked into whatever the party says on every issue. In fact, I want to be part of what the party becomes, but it doesn't mean that Republicans and Democrats can't have areas in common.
What a mouth on that guy.
I think criminal justice is one that brings the right and the left together.
You know, you've been in the Senate for a relatively short period of time, but your father was in the House. You've certainly observed politics at the national level for a long, long time. Have you ever seen partisanship that's so dug in, that's so fierce?
It's a free country, icehole.
Democrats piss me off.
Republicans are so stupid.
You know, I think it really has gotten kind of out of control in the Senate where no legislation is moving. And I think it had been a while since we had divided government. You have a Republican House, Democrat Senate, and so it's inevitable that a lot of things won't move very quickly. But I try to encourage people, and I've talked to the Democrat leadership, and I've said, why don't we send some things to conference committee and maybe split the difference? There are some of my principles, like on the right to trial by jury, I'm not willing to split the difference. However, on, you know, what the tax rate is to let companies bring money home from overseas, I've told Senator Reid I'll split the difference. If you want 9.5 and I want 5, we could go for 7, 7.5, and we could split the difference. And a lot of that money, there's $2 trillion overseas. But Senator Reid and I have been talking for about 3 months about ways to bring that money home and put that tax revenue into the road fund, because the road fund's short.
You know, it sounds like in some cases you're agreeing with something the president just said on the issue of partisanship. You're noticing that partisanship is often getting in the way of progress. The president yesterday was talking about partisanship getting in the way of dealing with the border crisis right now. We have a lot of immigrants in this country.
Maybe I come around this side.
No, 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 no.
Okay, maybe I come around this side.
No, 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 no.
Okay, maybe I climb over top.
No, 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 no.
You need help building more fence?
Okay, come on over.
Immigration reform has to be a compromise. So, for example, or even this situation on the border, it can't be, hey, here's what I want, give me everything I want. It's going to have to be in between what Democrats and Republicans want. And there is a way to do it, but the only way you do it is you can't be insistent that it has to be comprehensive. It may have to be somewhat sectioned off into smaller bills to get passed.
That's so crazy, it just may work.
CNN is reporting the Pentagon is discussing the possibility of maybe targeting the ISIS leader al-Baghdadi with a drone strike in Iraq. Is that something that you would support?
Well, bombs are war, and war is supposed to come from the legislature. The Constitution is very specific. They didn't want the president to have unilateral war power. The president has power to repel attack, imminent threats, things like that. But if we're going to make the decision to go back into Iraq, I've been saying for a long time that we need to vote again. One generation can't bind another generation. The use of force they passed in 2003 is surely not binding on next generation. We should vote again in Congress whether or not we want to go back and get involved in the war in Iraq.
Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy! Hey! Die, 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 die. Hey, 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 hey!
Rand Paul, I thank you very much for being with us, and I thank you for the picture of you sitting on stage with Senator Cory Booker. I think that's the type of thing we all need to see a lot more of on a wide range of issues. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Michaela?
Hey!